in the gunplay that's going on in South Central right now. Now, for everybody who knows or doesn't know what's going on in LA right now, it's get back season, the end of the summer slow.
Oh yeah, it's get back season. Big love to my dudes, Rap News Street Politics. And I want to make sure I give a big love, big shout out to the OG Ducks. Make sure y'all show them some love, man, as they continue on their youth football season. They're a year-round team, so I think they get cracking all year. But big shout out to the OG Ducks. If you know about the OG Ducks, man, show them some love in the comments. Big love, big shout out to Rap News Street Politics. Make sure you show bro some love. We're finna go ahead and get into this good content. I don't news you can use, knowledge you ain't finna get nobody's college. Big dog, tap in on the tap in to make sure I'm in fact tapped in with the good tap in. Hit us with a like, with a comment, with a good subscribe. Everything we got going on here at 10 and Trap News Network. It's like a news you can use, like an knowledge though. You ain't finna get in nobody's college. And for those of y'all who don't know, man, the city is on fire, man. South Central is not the place to be right now if you're not trying to get caught up in the mix, like making a drink in a bar or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what's in the mix because I be out the mix. But the war between the Hoovers and seemingly everybody has taken a turn with the most recent passing of YCA 80 Bands, lost his life this week. Yesterday, the day before, T-Fo the Loke lost his life. The week before that, I believe 2 weeks before that, the dudes from Hoover got their issues, in a night-long spree. It's just been a whole lot of flu, flambery, skullduggery, and larceny amongst these individual groups. We are praying for everybody to be safe as you are moving about these LA streets. But we finish up into this content, man, without no further do's and don'ts. Let's tap into Rap News and Street Politics and see what's going on. Let's get into it. Let's go.
Nothing down. Everything is seemingly ramped up, man. And we got to break down exactly what's going on through the most active blocks and hoods throughout South Central. But a movement that I've noticed over the years that some hoods is pushing is what's called HK City. Now, we know that the Hoovers have the most enemies in the city, but we also know they control a lot of territory in the city. And one thing these hoods gonna have in common is every hood is pretty much its own quote-unquote community. And as you become familiar with these sets, these neighborhoods that they exist in also serve as like pocket cities throughout LA. Everybody has their own boundaries, their own program, and different terrain in their hood. But the HK cities are, of course, as they sound, hoods that are Hoover K. And what we see is some hoods, a little bit more than others, pushing HK City. Hoods like the Rolling Hunnids, the Main Streets, South Los, East Coast, the 40s, the Menlos. These are some of the hoods.
Now, yeah, all these hoods for the most part are in allegiance with one another. Neighborhood Crips, rich rolling Crips, by faction of. So yeah, man, it seems, the two, well, there are a couple different type of Crips, but the two main Crips subgroups in LA are the Gangster Crips and the Rolling Crips or the Neighborhood Crips. Every gang in LA, for the most part, picks a side when it comes to being with the Gangster Crips or the Rolling Neighborhood Crips, whether it be the A-Tray Gangsters and the Hoovers, the Broadways going that way, with the Gangster Crips and the Hoovers and all that, or would it be the 6-0s, maybe like the Menlos, the Main Streets, the East Coast, kind of pushing more of a neighborhood Crip, type aspect into the situation. Regardless of the fact, it's a lot of flu flambery, a lot of skullduggery, a lot of larceny, a lot of room for things to go left at its best. And it just seems like a lot of these individual beefs are now being put aside for what's turning into one big gang war against two rival factions
that I've seen over the years striking up HK City, which to me is somewhat of a furtherance of boundary and of course a political stance that specific hoods are taking. Now, again, we see this mostly with hoods that beef primarily with Hoover, and these are also gonna be the hoods that we see actively participating in this gunplay. Now, of course, everything that I speak on is subjective. The only concrete thing and factual thing that we can speak on is that people are losing their lives. So in the subjective matter, we have to say that everything that's going on right now are allegations, but we know the streets is talking, and the best hood channel on YouTube got to bring you as close as possible to what's really going on, man.
They homies, nigga, on Main Street. What's this, Vert K, huh? Hey, Hoovers at though?
What?
Where the snoovers at, nigga?
I don't know where no snoovers.
All right then, nigga, Main Street. Tell them we here, nigga.
Why are you banging on bums? What this old man do? Old man did nothing to nobody.
Fuck Snoop and all that, nigga.
Now, while putting this video together, two rappers and dudes who are low-key faces in their section have lost their life around this situation. Brady Myers, aka T-Fo the Low, from 11 Deuce Broadway, lost his life October 8th in his hood on 113th and Main Street. And as we recording this video, man, YCA 80 Bands was reportedly shot in his face on Vermont, Manchester, on the borderline of 9 Deuce and A-Tray Hoover. And before we really get started, man, we gotta say, rest in peace to everybody that has lost their life in this war this year. We only talking about this year.
Man, because when I say this war has been hot for a while, this year is very short compared to how long this has been going on.
Seems to escalate on a pattern throughout the city. Now, the crazy thing is, YCA 80 Bands from Eastside 84 Main Street had just tapped in asking about his placement on the Crip report card. And I told him that we got him in future videos as representation of this crippin'. And the last thing he said was, does it take him dying to make it onto one of our videos, man? And you
damn. Sheesh. That sounds like a very cryptic, no pun intended, message for sure.
No, I really wish it didn't have to be this way, with us bringing up people who are trying to make it out the street shit with the music.
But here go the thing. Unfortunately, now he does have an A on a Crip report card. I'm not gonna say that's what it takes, but that's a pretty good qualification, unfortunately.
Or any other endeavors that they participating in, and really just trying to get on, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, we try to highlight everybody in the city in the same way, same fashion, man. Every hood, it don't matter where you from, the smallest to the biggest of names, man. We really try to put on for the city. So it's for sure, rest in peace to T4 and YCA 80 Bands. But as you know, we cannot start right here with the gunplay in the city. So over the last 5 to 6 months, a lot has transpired, and we gotta rewind the clock back to Memorial Day weekend, May 23rd, 2025, on the west side of South Central. There are 4 murders that took place in 3 separate events that are pertinent or relevant to the situation and to the hoods that are repping HK City and the Hoovers. Now, the first situation was potentially one that had the most eyeballs on it when Mashron Montgomery, aka King Boy, from the Dirt Gang, Rolling 30 Harlem Crip, 19 years old, lost his life on 96th and Van Ness as the result of a gunshot to the head in a late night situation in the neighborhood 90s. Now, almost simultaneously, 34-year-old Rico Antoine Mitchell was found laying outside with apparent gunshot wounds, with neighbors hearing gunshots in the car speeding off on 52nd and Hoover in the Fido's Hoovers. Now, before the situation this year, everything seemed to low-key be running accordingly, so to speak. Nothing too crazy. We know shit is happening all the time. There's gunplay to be had year-round. But when King Boy got killed, a shift changed in the city. Then we seen this murder on 52nd and Hoover. And of course, the 9-0s and the Hoovers are rival hoods. And this is somebody from the 30s, and the closest Hoover hood to the Harlems sees a murder the same night he's killed. Now, I'm not gonna make any assumptions. These are just the facts. Now, the key thing about King Boy, like I said, he's in the 9-0s. We know the 30s to the 100s is what's going on, and all them hoods are gonna rep HK City. But King Boy had close ties to Infant Stein from the 5 NUG, the Rolling Hunters. We know right now the Hunters have an aura about themselves. Well-respected members coming out all of the hoods of the Hunters. We know there's internal conflict going on between the 111s, 11-5s, Blocks, Hard Times, UGs. The 111s seemingly are focused a little bit more on the Blocks and UGs, but the Blocks and UGs are pushing HK City. Now, when you see this HK City written up, there's a couple things that's going along with that. Number one, we see them whacking the eye out. Most of, if not all of these hoods are going to be beefing with the Inglewood Bloods. So we really see that eye getting funny with the West Side hoods. But something that everybody does is whacking that T out for them Trey gangsters in these HK City hit-ups. Now, with King Boy being cool with Stein, we've seen them together over multiple occasions. It's alleged that the Rolling Hunters took it upon themselves. For some reason, they settled on the gangsters potentially being responsible for what happened in the 9-0s. And Stein slides up Normandy with a 20-year-old man and a 12-year-old boy looking for the get back. Now, the key thing about that
12-year-old boy being on a mission is wild work.
Boy, we got him on our thumbnail in the Rolling Hunters internal conflict video. You know, as people reached out when we did that video came out well before these situations transpired, his people wanted us to blur his face out. We did, so that's cool. My thing is, man, y'all gotta get a hold of y'all kids tighter than that. You know, these kids is outside, 12 years old, 14. Now, we know that's not unusual, not by any stretch of the imagination. Between 12 and 14 is really a point of time where niggas is jumping off the porch. But don't say nothing to us when these kids is going down on a slide, allegedly in the car with their homies. It's gotta be some more accountability out here. But nonetheless,
so he's saying, don't hit me up talking about blur your kid face out when your kid outside doing things that need his face blurred out. Got it.
they make their way to the 8 trays and they found themselves in the Northside 80s off Florence and Dalton, allegedly, where it ended up being a case of mistaken identity, where 48-year-old Kevin Ball, aka Tiki, from Eastside 4 Tray Gangsters in the low bottoms, and another Hispanic man named John Ramos, a non-affiliate, ended up losing their life in this situation. And on camera, Stein, the 20-year-old dude, and the 12-year-old child go down at the scene. Of course, these are still allegations. You can't just say somebody did something because they're there. But this is what's alleged. So to me, this situation right here started the shift, and this is what I deem the precursor to the bullshit. Now, we entered a second phase after this that started on May 29th, 5 days after Memorial Day weekend. Right here, we on 82nd and Main, where a red burgundy sedan pull up, fire rounds at somebody, hitting them in the head before going east on 82nd and turning south down Main. Now, this is in the 84 Main Street hood. Now, the name of this individual hasn't been disclosed because they seemingly made it out this situation. Again, this is in Main Street. Barrio Majados is not far from here, and the Swans are not far, but primarily Barrio Majados and Main Street. Now, since the victim did survive in this situation, how the streets look at this shit is a miss. We just gotta let y'all know the mindset that's going into these moves. This is
the mindset is gonna be everybody is against everybody. You gotta watch everybody. Everybody's tricky. No one can be trusted. The mindset behind this is gonna be treacherous.
not a score. But the key thing is, this is a part of HK City. This area is extremely hot. And after this, shit goes quiet. Now, that's a common thing that we seen with some of these hoods. And if you notice, it's a couple hoods out here that have gone quiet and dormant within the last month or so, seemingly because they're at work. Now, after this situation, it goes quiet for about a month, and then it pops up on 61st and Avalon in 6 Deuce East Coast Hood. Again, a part of HK City. Primary beef is the Swans and the Hoovers. 61st and Avalon, a man is shot, but it's another miss. Survive. So as you can see, the pattern starts in the 9-0s, again in the Hoovers, then it goes to the Gangsters. Goes to 6-Pack East Coast, and here we are, July 5th, 99th and Hoover. 4 people shot, gang-related shooting, men ages 37, 40, 44, and 50 in front of a house on 99th Street in the 9 Deuce Hoovers. 4 people, all of them
It's going down in the 90s right now. Sheesh.
survived another miss. Again, this is just the mindset. When we did that last Broadway video and spoke about why hood days get slid on, because that's what we leading up to. We headed to the epicenter of the bullshit, the A-Tray Hoover Hood Day. Why did
That's that downtown situation that turned into a massacre.
it get slid on like this? These misses, niggas is unsatisfied. People have been lost and they not counting. We hit some people and we gon' chill. That's not how it works. We gotta keep it real. We gotta bring y'all as close as possible to the mindset of this street shit in South Central. So the same night, 4 people were hit on 99th and Hoover. A man is killed on 82nd and May in the 7-6 East Coast Crips. Now, Florencia also shares this section. The kitchens aren't too far from here, but this does take place the same night them 4 dudes got hit in the 9 Deuces. Now, that's 4th of July weekend. We know that shit is always up. It's the same times of the year and damn near the same blocks that go up every year, time and time and again. But 5 days after,
Well, the 4th of July does fall on the 7-4 Hoover's Hood Day, so it seems like an excellent time to mass, gunfire with fireworks or mass fireworks with gunfire, however it makes sense, whatever, blah, blah. It's easy to get cracking on the 4th of July on your opposition.
after this, another murder in the alleyway, 97th and Budlong. Now, this is in the 9-9 Mafia, but it's right in between all of the bullshit. We know 9-9 Mafia is cool with the Hoovers, They beef with the A-Trays, and they beef with the 9-0s and the Hunters. But Luis Garcia does end up losing his life over here on 97 and Budlong, not far from some other recent situations that we about to go through. Now, the next day after that, July 11th, drive-by shooting where the same place YCA 80 Bands lost his life, Manchester and Vermont. A man is shot on his bike in a drive-by shooting, but guess what? Another miss in the Hoovers. Again, this is the borderline, the A-Tray and 9 Deuce, extremely active. Now, 2 days after that, we on 90th and Broadway, where 2 people are shot in an apartment building. And the crazy part is, the suspect was seen skirting off in a blue Lamborghini in the 9-4 Hoovers. Niggas is doing slides in Lamborghinis. But guess what? 2 more misses. Luckily, those last 3 people didn't lose their life off 90th and Broadway in Vermont and Manchester. But what this creates is a sense of restlessness. You see how this shit going up. I told you these misses.
Sliding off in a Lamborghini, you niggas think that this is a real life Grand Theft Auto server. Nigga, this is not GTA. There shall be no sliding in Lamborghinis.
They pile up and result in people taking drastic measures to get their man. But 12 days after this, we back in the Hoovers. 74th and Fig, the middle of 7-4 Hood. Man is shot in a gang-related shooting. Again, July 25th. Hit, not killed, another miss. That's 4 in a row. Niggas gambling, going through these blocks, and they not coming back with what they came over here for. This is what creates the tension. And this is how we got to 14th and Paloma Street.
There's a lot more misses and hits, and that's for sure cranking things up, but that's keeping the back and forth going. You got mine, I got yours. Somebody ready to strike for 100 points out here.
In downtown LA, A-Tray Hoover Hood Day party, man. Now, this situation, extremely uncalled for, extremely sad. But whatever hoods was trying to hit these people up in the Hoovers weren't satisfied that they kept missing, and they scoped out the party. Now, in that Broadway video, we broke down how people end up finding out where these parties are. Trust me, nobody just telling the streets, hey, this the...
Social media, bro. Social media. All you gotta do is post a video. Somebody say, hey, I know that mural. I know that wall. I know that tree.
Party, everybody pull up, especially when you know your hood is hot. Niggas know the temperature outside. So this was probably the result of somebody talking too much. Most of the time it's females that know somebody else. You know, somebody homegirl sleeping with the other side. It's all kind of shit that can go on. You know, somebody could have been disgruntled and dropped the low. We may not ever know exactly how this shit played out, but we do know Africa Johnson.
And unfortunately, that could be true too. It could be a back door. Somebody from over there might not like the way his homies have been treating him, or might not have felt like he got a fair shake of a stick or something like that, and they open up the back door for their enemies. You just never know how the situation goes. Not saying that's what did happen, but that's a very big possibility of what could have happened for sure.
Gregory DeRiso lost their lives outside of this A-Tray Hoover Hood party this night, man. And Africa Johnson was also somebody that had ties to both sides of the aisle. Kids from Hoover and her having ties to the Nayborhood Crips.
She's so logged in over here, I wouldn't even guess where she from. She from 9-0, real good over here, won't nobody touch her. She from the Nayborhood 9-0, she from over there.
That means she got a respect in.
Respect. Her sons is low from over here.
And I'ma just go ahead and say this. Somebody fucked up that night at the Hood Day party because she was not the intended target. Pretty much all these hoods pushing this movement against the Hoovers rock with the 9-0s. But the main key players that we see in this situation, Main Street, Rolling Hunters, Coast, they're even closer to the 90s. And I promise you, nobody truly wants to stand up and take credit for that situation, because overall they did hit an ally in Africa Johnson. And what we seen was a pivotal turnout at her services. Skip Town.
Yeah, I doubt that anybody will step up and say, hey, I'm the one that did that. That's going to be probably one of them unfortunate unsolved boys, because if you step up and say you did that, you up out of here, bro.
And other members of the de-escalation community came out, and we seen them neighborhoods and the Hoovers together at the funeral. And something that I really saw was Lil AD with them members, and some of them niggas he was shaking hands with is really some of them guys from Hoover. And of course, with him being from Neighborhood 60s, at a time like this, it looked like the streets were headed in the proper way at letting this shit die down, man. But something else that also transpired the same night Africa and Gregory got killed was somebody named Ronald Belton losing their life to a gunshot wound to the chest. Get this, damn near in the same spot that T4 lost his life. But this is all the way back August 3rd. He was sitting in his car over here on Imperial and Main when he was approached by two men and they started firing. Now, this is on the borderline of 11A East Coast and 11 Deuce Broadway. We know where 11A East Coast stands, and we'll speak on 11 Deuce shortly. I don't know the implications behind this specific homicide, and if Ronald Belton had any skin in the game, so to speak, and was a result of gang violence. But that's just something that also transpired in one of these hotspots in the city. Again, the same night that the double homicide took place at a Trey Hood Day party. Now, you know, after that, the city went quiet, and then the feds came out. This is when the feds came, swept up the Hoovers. Primarily, they had their focus on some people from 11 Deuce. We know other members were involved in that. P4K, the feds came outside, the members went inside. But there was a situation around the same time that the indictment dropped. Again, off Imperial, between San Pedro and Avalon. Again, right by the 11-8 and the Broadways and the 11 Deuce neighborhoods, a 25-year-old man is shot in his back inside of his Toyota. Now, he did live, and again, luckily he kept his life, but that's back-to-back on Imperial. Now, 2 days after that situation, we seen something that's kind of outside the hot spot right now. We know the hot spot, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the Menlos, all East Coast hoods, the Hoovers, the main streets, the Hundreds.
Off topic, on topic, it's crazy that the 6-0s is not a hot spot, but obviously the 6-0s have a lot going on within their community. So it's interesting that, not saying that they chose to sit this one out, but I like the paying attention to the room and reading the room and just realizing that, hey, there's a lot going on over here right now. Maybe we shouldn't do anything else to draw attention to what's going on over here because, nigga.
So we seen some on Ruth Ellen and Slauson. The 6-0s and the VNGs is right here. Now, we know both of these hoods beef with Hoover, but I believe this may have been an isolated incident from the main players where a man named Derek Jackson was killed over here off Ruth Ellen and Slauson. But in terms of the Hoovers, everything went quiet after the Hood Day murder. The indictment came down, but somebody in the city wasn't satisfied because on August 23rd, on 80th Street between Fig and Hoover, in the A-Tray Hoovers, bordering the Seven Folds, we see 35-year-old Denovius Gist losing his life over here, and somebody named Frog from Seven Fold was also hit in this situation. Frog made it out this situation alive. Another man was hit, but Denovius Gist did lose his life in the Hoovers. Now, this is the situation that transpired right before the mass shooting on Fig in Manchester. And this is where we go 3 days later, and that video came out with Chipmunk. 24-year-old William Irvin lost his life over here by that house of hotties on Fig in Manchester. Broad daylight shooting. Somebody came out the cut. I think the nail shop is right there. A couple things is right there, but a key thing is, again, this is pretty much in front of the house of hotties. Now, if y'all remember that Hoover indictment, House of Hotties was one of their main locations that the feds had on tap. They said the Hoovers was operating out of here, running the Rico out of House of Hotties. Now, some things about House of
Now, running the Rico out of a prostitute clothing store, barnacles.
Hotties.
But running the issue out of the prostitute clothing store when you're trafficking, it makes perfect sense. It all makes sense for sure.
And I've heard is that the Hoovers kind of took it over. I believe there's a Hispanic family that runs the House of Hotties, and it's been claimed that the Hoovers really took it over when they set up shop, and they kind of took the clientele base from another lingerie store that I'm not gonna say in this video, but it was said that the Hoovers turned the House of Hotties up and low-key bullied their way into the situation right here. And as we can see, August 26th, the Hoovers was outside.
That's when they got super cracking outside and the dude slid up on them.
Again, everybody knew this spot was their spot. Somebody plotted and killed Chipmunk right here. Now, this is where shit got unsettling because it seemed like the Hoovers went back on offense and went straight to the east side 9A main streets. Now, I've spoke about Century and Avalon before. I believe that's one of the deadliest intersections in the city. This is a place where I really first started seeing HK City, aside from Rolling Hundreds. Now, we know the front streets don't beef with the Hoovers, but we know they've had their ties with the 9-7s. We know the 9-7s, the Q102s, the 9-8s is right here. and this is not far from the 9 foes. But the streets have said the 9-2 foes slid over to Century and Main, not far from Century and Avalon, and started getting off where they killed Dylan Pressey, aka Mac 80, from West Coast Rolling 80 Crip out the west side of Long Beach. Now, this is something that I spoke on many times. This is how allies get drug into wars. We know West Coast 80, we've seen them beefing with the Hoovers before, though, on Spring Street. I've seen a situation where I think it was somebody from 9-4, coincidentally, on Spring Street, and he caught the beats over there. The 80s gave it to him. Now, the 80s is...
Yeah, because the Hoovers is notorious O-blank. So, you know, when they O-blank, the 80s is 8 O's, you feel me? So they're like, oh, so you obviously got an issue with the homies, anything with Rich Rolling and blah, blah, blah. You got to bounce, got you one.
We hear by the 9 foes in the 9-8s. Mac 80 ended up losing his life with a gunshot to his head, the same way Chipmunk lost his life earlier in the day. And this day, everybody really was like, okay, we know what's up. Niggas is not playing, and it's best to stay out the way. And again, we fall into a pocket where it goes quiet. Now, the situation with West Coast 80, we know, like I said, they're on the west side of Long Beach. This is way outside of the realm over here on the west side and the east side of South Central. But as you can see, they do have ties. We see TB the gunslinger put his shit out, and, you know, they're not happy about what transpired to their homie.
I mean, of course, niggas got cars. You feel me? Niggas got alliances. Niggas go to jail. You know what I'm saying? And niggas just travel and go places and all that kind of stuff. So I could definitely see how, you know what I'm saying, these dudes could be cool, especially when the 80s have beef with the Hoovers. I'm sorry, beef with the Insanes, and the Insanes is cool with the Hoovers. So I could definitely see that. I could definitely see how that's an issue.
Now, what everybody wants, man, is for this shit to subside, man, for this shit to blow over. And honestly, these dudes sliding down Sepulveda, sliding down the 405 to the 110 and coming to the Hoovers, extremely unlikely. You know, it's a far drive. We're not here for that, man. It's a fucked up situation, but I don't think we're going to see a war break out between the 80s and the Hoovers. No more than it already has. Like I said, we've seen the 9 foes catch the beats on Spring Street. We see what happened to Mac 80 in South Central. I don't think it's going to go too far after that. But again, the 80s.
Yeah, I think it's just more so of like, nigga, if you out of bounds and you caught slipping in the wrong side, in the wrong city, so to speak, or the wrong parts of the city you ain't from, it's going to be an issue. But I don't think that they're going to actively pursue each other.
Are disgruntled. But as we see, shit slowed down for a little bit. All that situation with Chipmunk and Mac 80 happened August 26th. We fast forward to September 5th. A couple weeks of niggas laying low. 30 people end up on 74th and Main. Now, this is in Eastside 7 Trey Gangsters. We know their main enemies is going to be the Swans. I can't say who all was over here. It seemed like it was going up, though, with 30 people outside. But this shit broke out into a shootout. Police said they found 30 shells on the ground, again, on 74th and Main, where 2 people were shot and 1 person lost their life in this situation. Now, again, correlation, I can't say with this one, man, but this is very close to the bullshit. 7 Trey is cool with the Hoovers, with the gangsters. At one point, they did deal with East Coast, but this is not a Hoover enemy. But the rolling 70s are, and this is where we see the next homicide take place. 68th and Hoover in the Menlos, September 12th, Christopher Burgett. It said the suspect got out of a white sedan, fired at the victim, and got back in the car and fled. We know the rolling 70s, HK City. Menlos and 6.5s are in this section right here. And 2 days after this, it goes up with TJ Boykins losing his life on Fig and Slauson, borderline 5-1 Deuce, and the 5-9 Hoovers. Now, this is just up the way from the rolling 70s. Bottom West Side Brims, 2 murders 3 days apart, September 12th, September 15th.
Yeah, that's extra active over there. Them dudes is into it.
And after this, it seems like somebody just had their mind set on the 9-4s. Now, we know the 924 is definitely one of the most active Hoover sets, Manchester Park, around this situation. But over here on the east of the 110, 89th and 2 Patchy, the Hoovers had a shootout. Somebody slid through, missed. Nobody lost their life in the 9-4s that night. Now, 2 Patchy, it's that little elementary school that's right there. This whole area, very tight-knit. We spoke on where the Hoovers be at in this area. They enemies know the same. That was September 21st. September 26th, 5 days later, 91st and Main, again in the 9-4 Hoovers. It said that a man was shot in 91st and Main, drove himself up to Manchester and Main, where the folks was performing CPR on him, and he seemed to have pulled through in that situation, which HK City would deem another miss. 2 days later, back in the 9-4 Hoovers, 91st and Broadway this time. Another shooting, nobody hit. Now the next day after that, 51st in Vermont, borderline 5-1 troubles, 5-2 Hoover. 20-year-old Brandon Reynoso loses his life over here in the H gang. Now, we know other hoods are over here as well. 18th Street, not confirmed that Brandon was from Hoover. But again, this is the hot spot. And this is what takes us down to 97th between Hoover and Vermont, where everybody started talking again. 15-year-old Anthony Smithers, that young dude from Hoover that everybody been talking about, that had a hand condition, walking home from a party in the 9 Deuces, man. And we said Colden Avenue, 97th, all these are extremely hot blocks. 95th, this whole area, what do we
Yeah, all that is extra active over there. Extra active with a cherry on top.
doing outside right now, man? It's too hot to be on foot late night after a party. He loses his life October 4th over here on 97th between Hoover and Vermont. Now, 4 days after this is where we see T-Fo the Low, Grady Myers from 11 Deuce Broadway, lose his life with being shot while in his vehicle on 113th and Main Street, not too far from Harry's Liquor, where a few of those vlogs took place, where we seen him doing his thing. Now, we heard some hoods taking credit for that. We know, for the most part, Broadway is really only beefing with Denver Lane. But we don't know what happened in this situation. But this is somebody that seemed, like I said, be somewhat of a face of his section. Every time you see 11 Deuce, you see him, along with a couple other noticeable figures, of course. But being outside, hanging out with his homies, T-Fo was doing it. And some things that we seen about T-Fo was his pops was his big homie. And crazy enough, his pops...
Now, when your pops is your big homie, you are bred for this life. That's for sure.
had got into a situation back in 2012 where one of his own homies had shot him and one of their other homies from 11 Deuce. Over here off 108th and Spring, the middle of 11 Deuce Broadway, his pops was hit in his hood as well. Now, it was a situation where a dude named Deion Turner, who the people say went by Yo Ball from 11 Deuce. I don't know if that was his actual name, but that's what was in the paperwork. It said he got into it with T-Fo's pops, who was T2, aka Lil Tall. And he was with somebody named Noonie, where it said that they were serving over here on 108. Now it said that Yo Ball had picked somebody up and was venting to them about how he was getting into it with his homies and said he was finna spin over there and holler at them niggas right when he picked up another non-affiliate homie. Now when they hit 108th and Spring, what the people refer to as the big house over there, it said that Yo Ball seen Grady Myers Sr., T-Fo's pops, and Lil Noonie hanging out, where he drove up and started getting off with the 9. Now the dude that was in Yo Ball car, of course, he's spooked. He ready to get out and he snitched. Now in the paperwork, it say Lil Tall made statements as well. He testified that he drove himself and Lil Noonie to the hospital. They was both treated, and he admitted that they was from 11 Deuce. He said he knew Yo Ball for about 20 years, and he didn't implicate him as being a member of 11 Deuce, but he also said that he didn't get into it with Yo Ball that day and really had no idea why it cracked off like that on 108. But this is a situation that I felt was strange, being T-Fo's pops is also not only his big homie, but also was shot in his hood. And we spoke about a situation with T-Fo when he did that.
Yeah, it sounded like maybe somebody was trying to get at these dudes personally. It might sound like some internal conflict for sure.
Real MVP TV interview about 11 Deuce Broadway being tight with Main Street and how the Hoovers felt and responded Now, that interview took place about a year ago, but the Hoovers basically displayed some ill feelings when the declaration was made about 11 dudes having somewhat of an alliance with 98 Main Street, who they bordered their hood with. But with Tifo, man, you know, the video, just like all the other videos, everybody in here, man, that we've seen, just not something we want to see from the young life. You know, most of these people out here is extremely young. But this situation fast forwards us a week later, man, right when we recording this video, October 14th, the second shooting in the same spot in this location, Manchester in Vermont, Isaiah Leonard Jr.
Yeah, that's where YCA 80 Bands lost his life at. Manchester in Vermont, man. At that little weed shop. And it's crazy because, nigga, why was you even over there?
AKA YCA.
For those of y'all who don't know, that weed shop is heavily in the Hoovers, the H-Ray Hoovers and all that. It's the hoods that don't fuck with his hood. So like, bro, why are you even over there? Like, you had no business being over there with them people.
80 Bands from Eastside, A4 Main Street loses his life. Now, it's said that he was with the pimp and shit. You know, he knocked a female, and for some reason, I don't know why, he should have never been over in this situation. The climate is too hot outside. I know the A4s is blocks away from here, but again, it was too great of a risk. Now, he had a little female that I think he was trying to sit down on the blade, but nonetheless ended up at this weed shop over here on the south side of Manchester, right next to Vermont. And this is where it said that he jumps out his blue whip, which is said to be his daily driver. Now, two things could have transpired, but nonetheless, he jumps out his...
And then on that street, it's a main street, so it's not, you can't even tell who's watching you, who's scoping you and all. There's so much going on that street, you would never know if somebody has saw you or all that kind. There's so many ways for it to go bad for you. On foot on that street, you're not at the advantage at all. No way, shape, form, or fashion.
Car. Dude was following him inside. Some words is exchanged, and it said that he is sadly shot in the face in this situation and is no longer here. Further adding to the realization of the people that we see on this internet that we either sensationalize or communicate with, grow relationships with, grow familiar with, whatever the case is. You know, these is artists in the city and members that are losing this life. And you know, something else I also been peeping just a little bit in my communication with dudes from Main Street, 9-8 and 8-4. I'm not going to necessarily say tension, but some sort of a misalignment. Now, I hope this situation with Mafia Blue, aka YCA 80 Bands, doesn't result in friction, but we have seen some comments being made about 8-4 need 9-8 when it's time for them to go. And we know 9-8 is primarily the hood that we hear about in these slides. But you know, I think this is one of them situations where tempers is high, emotions are high, and things really need to subside in the city. To me, you know, I'm not gonna say too much.
Yeah, everybody needs to take a break, smoke a blunt, and just sit down somewhere. Everybody needs to just take a break, smoke a blunt, like think about the do's and the don'ts, moms, dads, kids, all the stuff that you could be potentially being able to be taken away from due to bad decision making. Everybody should just take a breath and relax, bro. Relax, 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 relax.
But this shit low-key sound like a setup, man. I'ma keep it 100. This is blocks away from where Chipmunk got killed. You know, either somebody recognized his whip or that female he was with was in communication with them niggas. You know?
I think that is more so that he was, if you know that block, I think that it's more likely that he just got seen. He was seen. Words are hard. I think that more likely than anything, he was seen and niggas was like, oh, there you go right there. And it was just bad place at the bad time.
A lot is to unfold with that situation, but that's the latest individual we've seen go down in this war with Hoover versus the HK City Hoods, man. Now, I can't stress this enough, man. We gotta say, rest in peace to everybody. It's time to slow this shit down in the city, man. And something I've always said, man, LA stay with the shit. We always got the hot spotlight. We always got it. We got it right now. I feel like niggas is really out here with the potential to make some legit chili, to really start touching the bag legitly. You know, we got so many platforms out here, niggas that's picking up rapping. You know, we see a lot of these young dudes talking about they paper from their distro kid and, you know, really getting it off the rapping. And with these platforms out here, niggas can truly be uplifted, but don't end up like Chicago. You see nobody talk about them no more because they all smoked each other. Let's not go down that same path. Let's keep the heartbeat in the city, man. Let's keep this chili flowing in South Central, outside of South Central, West LA, Compton, Watts, Long Beach, Inglewood, Hollywood, the Valley, San Gabriel Valley, the IE. Let's keep this shit flowing, man. Y'all stay safe out here. Stay outside the hot spots. Let this shit cool down. If you know you ain't supposed to be in somebody's section, stay out of it. If you know your section hot, stay out of it. If you gotta stay in it, man, chill out. It's cool to be tucked right now. Everybody that made their point, man. It's the best hood channel on YouTube. We out.
All right, man. Big love to the homie Rap News Street Politics. Make sure you show bro some love. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit that notification bell. We up out here to the next one. Red dots to the left. You know the rest. Free Avenue Angels, please. Free. We go.
Sexy bands on my name. How many shots to the center of a freak, nigga? 3 in his ass, lick his stomach, smell his pink, nigga. They throwing shots, time to see if them pussy niggas can take it. The nigga whack is a snitch and the jolly niggas are rapists. See, Lush was on to something, tried to act like it was nothing. Said you ain't know that freaky ass taker you was frontin'. Munchie ain't fucking with you and Spider-Loc ain't gon' save you. If you want it, you gon' take it. Stop the freaky ass behaviors. Let's get straight to the point, see, we ain't gotta wait for later. Nigga with your last name kidnapped that girl before he raped her. Said the moms of gang members don't deserve no piece of prayers. When General Butt naked, the kid Tesher is your savior. You ain't gotta stall me out, cause I ain't asking for no favors. Get it cracking right now, we ain't gotta wait for later. Walked into your own building, heard my voice and then you ducked away. Was humble like a bitch, cause you a hoe, stay in your fucking place. That nigga whack and slut and pathetic Flacco's a fucking lame. Whack ain't come outside because he hiding from his fucking gang. Talking like you tough when niggas spitting in your fucking face. T-Row didn't quit, we wouldn't even know your fucking name. Whack in front of Adam, but Adam is how he do you. See, Flacco lied on me and then Whack told me to sue you. Treated Whack like a bitch, you should've seen it, it was beautiful. Now every single week that nigga jolly on my pupil. Is it Fred or is it Frederick? Is it Dave or is it David? All thighs on me. Flock a belly, now you famous. Type of creep nigga is you. How are you and Dave related? Nigga, no means no. You should've told him not to take it. I'm really in the field, you niggas stuck inside the matrix. From BET to the Knicks, down in Compton where your face is. That nigga real jolly got some freaky ass cases. Tryna fake fight Lush cause Adam wanted you to face. You wanna be like academics, making videos like point and shoot. You and Dave the same ass lane, we know the fucking truth. Brick ain't say this shit is a play, cause he don't fuck with you. He not gon' get involved when them real shooters come for you. If you grew up in the land, them thirsties, they would've humbled you. Grew up with them lions, I promise they would've hunted you. I get disrespectful, the next time I'ma punish you. You dirty fat bitch, I swear to God I see the bum in you. Niggas say they shooters till it's time to bring them guns out. Loose can't read and Whack lost his wife to Clubhouse. Treat Whack like a bitch, mark him out before he snitch again. Flocko, when I see you, I'ma show you the type of bitch you is. Niggas say they see me, they pullin' blick out. I promise that this Glock can make you sit down. Drum with a cooler, one for you, one for your brother. Wrap the string around the mop, sound like your dumb ass when you stutter. Swear to God, nigga.
Hear me out though, right? Pause, wait, bro, wait. Again, wait though. Just right, so, right, wait though, right? I do want to